So what can we learn from the scandal that broke with Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman, amongst others, being implicated in a bribery scam to universities to get their kids preferential treatment? Well, here's what we can learn. This is the left. This is who the left is. Hollywood is the left. Academia is the left. This is wholly a leftist scandal. This is who these people are. This is what we can learn, and this is what I want to talk about. They don't care about standards. They are liars. This is wholly a left-wing scandal, and the truth that it shows is that the left are a bunch of fakes. See, they talk this game, right? Notice they are actors in the truest sense. I mean, everything is a play. Everything is a scam, a charade. The idea that, there's this caring aspect to them, that the world, that they're interested in fairness and equity and all this nonsense. They are not interested at all in that. Not at all. And this is what I think we see. So, think about this from this perspective. You heard the concept that, I'm not a doctor, I just play one on TV. So, if you think about that, if an actor who played in a doctor show, would you want them operating on you? Would you want to take their medical advice? No, you wouldn't. So why do we look at them in any sort of manner as these experts when it comes to social matters, when it comes to political stuff? You notice how they always seem to get the limelight and affect popular opinion to push one way or the other, and it not one way or the other, to push to the left. They justify everything they say by this idea that they care about fairness. But you see, this is an example of the fact that they don't care at all about fairness. They care about appearance. They care about optics. They're in the business of optics. They're actors. They play fair people. They play people who care. They play people who want justice. They don't want any of that stuff. They are who they claim to hate. And see, what this also shows is that the universities are nothing more than pipelines to the next generation of elites. They push the next generation of elites into influential places of power. That's what the universities are. They're not places where you go to get educated. They're pipelines. They're networking sites, basically. These kids, these silver spoon kids, these elites, they get pushed into these locations and into the universities, and the universities are systems that are set up for the purpose of placing the next generation of people who are our masters into the positions of power to control us. That's one of the biggest things I think we can learn from this whole situation. The elites don't just get preferential treatment in college admissions. They get it when it comes to employment in large firms, in the government bodies, in media. You ever notice this is why we get to choose? We get the pleasure of choosing between either the next Bush or the next Clinton. Because it's all rigged. The game is all rigged. The whole system is rigged. And so it's like this, the politics is just a game of good cop, bad cop. And then the media, who's supposed to be our watchdogs, the people who are in media are from the same exact system. So the whole game is rigged. And the whole thing is, again, it goes back to appearances. They want the appearance of a just system. And it isn't just colleges, right? It isn't just employment. It's justice as well. It's the justice system. You think the justice system doesn't work like this, where if you have enough money, you can go and do a backroom deal and get the special treatment? And it goes beyond race, because that's, and see, the left will then come out and say, and they'll point at the very problem that they themselves create, right? As justification for what? For the expansion of their own power. That's the amazing thing about all this, is that they claim to be your advocate. They claim to be the advocate for the little guy. But the truth of the matter is that what they're doing is stepping on the little guy. They act as if they are an advocate for the little guy. And then what they do is step on the little guy to get their power, to get more money and to get more power. These kids, when they get in the university system, right, they're doing it in direct opposition or instead of somebody else. So Joe Sixpack's kid out there, who's got everything, who strived, who struggled, all of that stuff, gets left at the altar, and some silver spoon elitist snob gets pushed into the system. And then they get that special job. They get that position. Why? Because it's all about influence. It's all about networking. It's all about playing the game. And, again, what I want to point out is the broader implication of this. This isn't just about college stuff. I saw on, somebody had a meme on Facebook that was from George Lopez, and he was talking about how he was equating the fact that these mothers, in this example of the two actresses, were scamming for a better life for their kids, and equating that to that's what illegal immigrants are doing. But think about that for a minute. Now, his position, I'm sure, was justifying the immigration, the illegal influx of foreign people into the country. His aim was to justify it. But the whole point of that goes against what we all know to be true. The whole point of this even being a scandal is the fact that every one of us knows intuitively, if not just, obviously logically, that what is going on is unjust here. That these women were getting their kids preferential treatment and cheating to do it. So to equate that to the immigration system actually makes a lot of sense, but to do it and to make it seem like one thing's a positive, of course it's not a positive. This is what people do. So the immigration issue is in like manner, because what happens is this: people end up jumping the line. So others who are trying to do it the right way, the way the system on the face, the optics of the system say to do it, they jump in front of them. So, and then people who are here, whether they be legal aliens or citizens who pay into the social structure by force, right? You don't get a chance to say whether or not you want to pay Social Security. It's taken out of your check. You don't sign anything. It's taken by force. You don't get a choice in the matter. And that social network system where you're all these people who are legal are putting money into it, these other people come in and they steal from it. So, I mean, do you justify that, George Lopez? Do you say, well, it's okay because they want what's best for their kids? It's okay to steal somebody's identity, to steal from the government, to jump the line of an immigration system. And notice who's for this, right? The left. The left is for this. Why? Because that's how they are. This shows you this is what they do. A lot of what it is for them is projection. So they are what they claim to hate. And this is, in a way, it's for them to be able to say, look, I care. So again, it's about the optics. I care. I want the best for these illegals. But they're doing it, but they're for cheating. And that's what, they aren't for justice. So see, when you peel back their morals, when you peel back what they care about. I mean, how do you care or put somebody in power or exalt their opinion when it comes to social issues when they have a moral problem? And that's what you're seeing here, is they have a moral problem. And it doesn't do enough to just justify it in terms of race, which is often what they do, or economics, because they are the ones that are pushing all that stuff. And I want to also explain that this works the same way when it comes to social media. In the past 2 days, I've seen 2 of my favorite YouTube people say that they basically got demonetized. Dr. Michael Brown and Owen Benjamin. Both of them got demonetized on YouTube. In that same time frame, I was listening to an interview. Tommy Robinson said he was kicked off of Facebook. So social media is the exact same thing. There's a system that is in front of everybody's face. But if you're not in the club, then you don't get to participate in that same manner. So what happens is, so real fascists, there's always justification for their abuse. So while real fascists, terrorists, and foul people have somehow avoided the swift hammer of social media's guideline enforcement, decent conservative voices are being taken out. So Tommy Robinson's book, you can't even find that on Amazon anymore. That disappeared all of a sudden. So Amazon's involved too. But you can still get Adolf Hitler's book. So you see how they play this game? The lesson for us all is that this is a peek into the underbelly of how life really works, how the world really works. The power elites, they don't care about you. They aren't interested in fairness or equality. They lie to you. They control the means of information to say these things either to pacify you or to get you angry at their enemies, which all too often are your neighbors and your family. They divide us with their lies and they pit us against each other. And then while we bicker and get distracted by the latest outrage or celebrity issue, they attain more and more money and power for themselves. The same people that cry about injustice are themselves unjust. They project their flaws onto their enemies. The reason why they see racism everywhere, or why they talk about racism, is because they see it from that perspective. They are the racists. The reason why they talk about sexism is because they are the sexists. They project their flaws. It's like the heart. And see, what will happen is this will be treated as this is some sort of anomaly. Like, oh, this is an outraged instant situation that we've taken care of. Bullcrap. This is how the system works. Always. That whole thing, the idea that it's just some sort of special instance, some sort of thing that slipped through the crack, that again is optics. That is there to make you think the system doesn't work this way. This is exactly how it all works. The little man gets screwed. And then these rich elites have this pathway that's created, this conveyor belt of success that's just laid out before them. The left is who they claim to hate. The left are the elites. The left are the rich 1%. They're controlling everything. They're controlling the narrative. They're controlling the media. The truth is that if it wasn't for little sites where you get the information out, we would never even, we wouldn't hear about this stuff. The left are the fascists. The left are the boogeymen that they claim the right are. The left are the boogeyman who tell you who you're supposed to fear. It's exactly backwards. That's the magic. That's the trick. It's the Wizard of Oz. They are the man behind the curtains. They always have been. When they point and say the bad guy's over there, they are the bad guy. When they say when they dress up as Robin Hood and say, we're going to steal from the rich, understand something. Robin Hood works for the Sheriff of Nottingham. This has never been, there is no left-wing saviors out there. This is the fraud. This is the act. All these people are actors. The whole thing's a scam. The left is who you need to understand is the enemy. This is, the left are the elites. The left are the 1%. The left are the fascists. The left are the boogeymen.